patterns, and this is one thing that it really drives me crazy when I do patterns. I always like to have my clean area, so I'm not like digging into something, right? Because I want to have the fabric not be altered. So since I got the fabric okay, let's use the correct grain line and not the make-believe one. Okay? Just a remind you guys, when you do your grain line, it needs to be parallel to the edge. So to some of you, I have showed you this trick. You don't measure from here and measure from here and move it, and every time it moves, then you're going to spend your life going up and down. Best thing to do is to put a pin on your grain line on one end. I'm going to do it dramatically so you guys can see. So then I'm going to place my ruler and I'm going to measure from here to here to the edge. I have 9 3/8. And I'm going to put my ruler here and do 9 3/8. And now I can pull it until it's exactly it. See that?
Yeah.
So now this measures exactly the same as this. That's called parallel. That's the easiest trick ever. Right? Sounds a little silly and redundant, and I don't like that. But that's what it is. Okay. Actually, what you ask if it's folded in bias and cut it on the fold, right? That's actually a little bit of the principle on how to drape it. We'll get back to that. So look at this. It's almost 90 degrees from each side, right? What happened with the K9 effect? What? Now, you guys can see how obnoxious I'm to cut it on the exact edge, because I'm testing the pattern. So if I cut it a little bit off and then you sew it a little bit off, guess what? It's gonna fit a little different. So I try to be as precise, and when I hire my pattern maker, she needs to follow exactly the seam allowance, because whatever she does or I do, it will be multiplied by the amount of pieces that I will be cutting out of that pattern. Okay? But if you do it a little bit here and a little bit there, and then she does the same thing, that's why I have that saying, a hair and a hair and a hair makes a whole wig. Right? And when we drape the bustier, I'm going to actually explain to you a little bit more about that. Okay, notches. Somewhere around here. Okay? So, you guys, I want you to get your fronts. So, since we left the shoulder 1 inch, you're gonna get the front, and you're gonna keep the neckline on the exact place where it is on the center front, but you're going to square it off, and then you're going to square off at 1 inch of the shoulder and then round it out. So you're creating like a boat neck on the front. Does that make sense?
No.
You look scared. I'll help you. I'll explain it in a second so you guys can see how it's going to be the last part of this pattern. Okay, but we're checking cows, right? See this corner right here? I'm going to match them because that's the facing going in. And here, I'm going to do the same. Okay, so somebody wants to hold the phone so you can see on the dress form. By the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I'm very tall. That's why I picked this mannequin. I like to have at my eye level.
Do you want to use this one?
No, I don't. I picked this one because I can lift it up. So if I'm looking at the top, I want it to be at my eye level. So that thank you. So I'm going to place it right here. Oh, you mean because it's 8?
Size 6 versus size 8. Doesn't matter.
I'm just showing you guys how to create the cow. See, the armhole would line up right here. The side would line up here. Remember, I added seam allowance, that's why it's a little bit longer. And it probably will be a little bit bigger because this is a 6 and we did an 8. So if the fabric had more weight, it would fall down. But notice that the edge of it is the perfect bias. So what we have inside is the facing that we folded. Okay? In the back, not so much, but if you want it to be laying here and the facing doesn't slip out, you can put a little weight on it. That's what I was talking about. There's 2 boxes with weights. This is actually a weight that is used on a garment. Okay? So what you do is you create a little pouch. Okay? And you sew it in the center of the facing. And see that? Keeps the facing straight down. See, this fabric is a little stiff, but it will create that effect. If you guys wanted, but notice that the shoulder does not have any pleats, right? But if your design, you want to have actually pleats, so it cowls even more, what are you going to do?
Make the pleats with the
How?
pattern.
What's the
So,
technique?
Slash and
Slash and spread. Okay? Remember the Asian technique? Slash and spread. Okay? And that's what's going to give you that effect. Pretty?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. You guys want to work on this first, and then we'll do the draping later?
Yes.